Welcome to Module or Chapter 8, the final chapter in this section, dealing with reading levels for our EMS Testing Online Item Writing Workshop. In this chapter, we're going to talk about how you determine the reading level of an item and then adjust it to reach a certain level. And then we'll talk also about the ranges that we would like to use for our questions. So what is a reading level? Well, here we go. Which of these is the best level for oxygen in ABGs? The reading level of this question is a 1.5 grade reading level. In other words, a kid in the middle of their second grade in elementary school would, in theory, be able to understand that question as far as how it's written. Would not necessarily know the answer, but would understand it to read it. Whereas, which of the following represents the optimal oxygen level when evaluating arterial blood gases? That is exactly the same question. However, it's written at a much higher reading level, in fact, greater than even a 12th grade reading level. So, exactly the same questions, just of differing reading levels. So, a student may not understand a question not because they don't understand the content of the question, but instead because they can't read the question because it's written at too high a level. So we don't want to discriminate on reading levels unfairly. We do want to discriminate based on reading levels. We just don't want to do it unfairly. So calculating a reading level. Well, there's a couple of ways. The easiest, there's a by hand method, but the easiest is using Microsoft Word. To do that, you click Spelling and Grammar, show readability statistics, and utilize the Flesch-Kincaid reading level numbers. So to do that, assessing reading level, you'd click on your tools. You would then, it'll ask you as you've done that spelling and grammar check, it'll ask you, do you want to continue with the rest of the document? You say no, or click no, and then it'll give you the Flesch-Kincaid grade level. For example, in this one, the example, 11.8 is the reading level of this particular selection. How do you adjust those reading levels? Well, there are two things that really make up reading levels. One is long words. The longer the word, the higher the reading level. Shorter the word, the shorter. See Spot, see Dick, see Jane, all small words. The other is lengths of the sentences. So the longer the sentence, the higher the reading level, the shorter the sentence, the lower the reading level. So example again, see Dick, see Jane, see Spot, all two-letter sentences. So very, very low reading level. Whereas observe Richard, Jane, and Spot running yonder would be a longer sentence with larger words. It would be a higher reading level. Reading ranges. For nursing, we would expect the nurse to be able to read at approximately a 12th grade reading level. So that's where we're really going to want to try to target our questions. For the paramedic or AMT, the expectation is a 10th grade reading level. For the basic EMT, expectation is 8th grade reading level. The emergency medical responder is a 6th grade level. Any of these can be plus or minus 2 grade levels and still fit pretty comfortably within where they ought to be able to read. So when you go outside that grade level by 2 or more grades, that you begin to now negatively impact the student based on reading level and no longer content. So, for example, on the basic EMT listed there, something at a 4th grade reading level would be too low for the basic EMT, too simple. And you might say, well, why would that create a problem? It's because you don't get excited about see Spot, see Dick, see Jane. You will gloss over those and miss information. But if I wrote that at an 11th grade reading level for that basic EMT, I may discriminate against a person who would make an adequate basic EMT or even an excellent one. Because I've asked the question at too high a level. So, calculate reading levels, utilize Microsoft Word, there's right in the program. If as you're developing these, you have questions, sometimes it's set as a default on, sometimes it's set as a default off for reading level in the spelling portion of the Microsoft Word program. Just give us a call and we'll talk you through how to identify and correct it so that it is available within your program. To adjust the reading levels, if it's too high, when you see commas, maybe put periods and increase the number of sentences. When you see long words, use your thesaurus synonym and identify smaller words, and vice versa if you want to go the other direction. Again, preferred reading levels are 12 for nurses, 10 for paramedics and AMTs, 8 for basic EMTs, and 6th grade for emergency medical responders. This concludes Chapter 8. Please, once you finish this, please look for the worksheet and the online test. Both of those are downloadable documents. You will download those onto your computer. Do what's asked of you, either fill out the worksheet or answer the questions on the test, and then email those to Doug, D-O-U-G, at platinumed.com. Again, thank you very much for participating in this, and we look forward to receiving your workbook and tests.